And that brings us full circle. Why would George Russell go out of his way to keep the Verstappen rumors alive? Because in modern F1, silence is weakness. Speaking up, even controversially, can shift the narrative. Even Christian Horner hinted at this, saying, "George is probably frustrated he hasn't been given a contract yet. That frustration? It's now fuel. And it's doing exactly what Russell intended, putting pressure on Toto Wolff, stirring Red Bull's media camp, and keeping himself right at the center of the conversation. Because when the market heats up, the drivers who stay quiet get forgotten. And George Russell? He has zero interest in fading into the background." Final question for you. Is Russell playing this smart, forcing the issue and shaping his own future? Or is he poking a bear that could bite back? Let us know in the comments below, and if you haven't yet, check out our deep dive into how Red Bull's driver gamble backfired after Sergio Perez's exit. That video is on your screen right now. This story is just heating up. And the 2026 grid? It's going to explode. But why now? Because inside the Mercedes camp, one thing is crystal clear. They still don't know who will fill that second seat in 2026. Kimi Antonelli is talented but unproven. Russell remains unsigned. And Toto Wolff, he's leaving the door open, but only slightly. When asked if Russell was more likely to stay than Verstappen was to join, Wolff responded, "Yes, but I can imagine every lineup. I had Rosberg and Hamilton. Everything after that is easy." That's not exactly a no. That's a maybe. And it's the kind of maybe that keeps Verstappen's name alive in every single Mercedes strategy meeting, even if Red Bull insists otherwise. Now let's talk cracks, because Red Bull's foundation is no longer solid. Sure, Max has a contract through 2028, but in F1, contracts only hold as long as the driver's patience. Adrian Newey, gone. Jonathan Wheatley, gone. Christian Horner, still under fire both internally and externally. The leadership that built Red Bull's era of dominance is starting to fracture, and Max Verstappen has made it abundantly clear. "I control my future," which brings us to 2026, the regulation reset that could change everything. While Red Bull is building its own power unit with Ford, Mercedes already has decades of engine-building experience, and if Verstappen loses trust in Red Bull's ability to deliver, he may jump ship. He's watching everything. The engine project, the internal power plays, the political tension, and yes, he's watching Russell. Because a move to Mercedes doesn't just depend on the car. It depends on one key question. Can Toto Wolff believe that Russell and Verstappen can coexist? And here's the irony. It might be Russell himself who becomes both the reason. If Verstappen joins Mercedes, or doesn't, there's one big reason that could tip the balance. Let's not forget the history between these two. The clashes, the barbed comments, the near misses on track. "Mate, we all have no grip. You need to leave a little bit of space." "Yeah, but expect the same next time." These two have been circling each other since their junior days, and almost every on-track battle ends with one of them calling the other too aggressive. Toto Wolff saw firsthand what happened with Rosberg and Hamilton. He knows exactly what it's like when two alpha drivers share the same garage, and yet he hasn't ruled it out. There are pros and cons. We've seen examples where it worked and others where it didn't. That tells you everything you need to know. Mercedes is willing to gamble if the return is worth it. And Max Verstappen, baggage and all, is still the highest value driver in Formula One. So, what do you think? Could Verstappen and Russell actually work together in the same team? Or would that partnership implode by mid-season? One comment. Perfectly timed. Suddenly the entire grid is on edge. By publicly suggesting that Mercedes is in talks with Verstappen, George Russell triggered a chain reaction that forced every major player to respond. And the chaos? It's loud, and no one's on the same page. Toto Wolff says there's no delay in Russell's contract. while also admitting they're eyeing Verstappen. Max? He doesn't want to blow it up in the media, but insists he controls his own future. Helmut Marko. He went on full blast. Russell just talks too much. On the surface, it sounds like posturing. Underneath, it's a warning. Marko's message is loud and clear. Red Bull is tired of the noise. But here's the problem. The noise isn't coming from outside. It's coming from inside their own pressure cooker. Despite the denials, the signs are everywhere. Red Bull is fourth in the Constructors' Championship. A staggering drop for a team that dominated last year. Verstappen has scored nearly all of their points. Their post-Perez driver shuffle, first Lawson, then Tsunoda, has failed to deliver meaningful support. And with Adrian Newey and Jonathan Wheatley both gone, the once mighty foundation is now fractured. And in that chaos, Mercedes is circling. Wolff knows that 2026 is the reset button. New power units, new chassis rules, a completely new era. And if Red Bull's risky in-house engine gamble with Ford doesn't pay off, a clause in Verstappen's contract could open the exit door. The stakes? Massive. Verstappen's next move will shape the next decade of Formula One power dynamics. And Mercedes wants to be ready. If Max does leave Red Bull and joins Mercedes in 2026, does that instantly make them title favorites again? Or would pairing him with Russell create more drama than results? While Verstappen dominates headlines, Russell sits in a far more complex position, both a future contender and a potential threat. If Max joins him at Mercedes, Russell is no longer the clear team leader. But if Max stays with Red Bull, Russell's stock inside Mercedes skyrockets. That's exactly why George is speaking now. He's applying pressure not just to Red Bull, but to his own team. He's reminding Wolff, I'm here, I'm winning, I'm performing. And beneath the surface, he's setting the stage for one of two outcomes. Either Verstappen joins him at Mercedes and they go to war in the same garage, or Mercedes locks Russell down and commits to developing Kimi Antonelli. George knows the decisions are coming, but instead of waiting, he's trying to bend those decisions in his favor.
And that brings us full circle.
Why would George Russell go out of his way to keep the Verstappen rumors alive? Because in modern F1, silence is weakness. Speaking up, even controversially, can shift the narrative. Even Christian Horner hinted at this, saying, George is probably frustrated he hasn't been given a contract yet. That frustration? It's now fuel. And it's doing exactly what Russell intended. Putting pressure on Toto Wolff, stirring Red Bull's media camp, and keeping himself right at the center of the conversation. Because when the market heats up, the drivers who stay quiet get forgotten. And George Russell? He has zero interest in fading into the background. Final question for you. Is Russell playing this smart, forcing the issue and shaping his own future? Or is he poking a bear that could bite back? Let us know in the comments below, and if you haven't yet, check out our deep dive into how Red Bull's driver gamble backfired after Sergio Perez's exit. That video is on your screen right now. This story is just heating up. And the 2026 grid, it's going to explode.